Hey everyone, we're just gonna wait a little bit for some people to join. So hang tight for a little bit and we'll get started with just a little meet and greet to get to know me a little bit better. So, hi Andrew. So we'll just continue to wait a little bit longer so some more people can join and we can get as many people in here as possible for this. I did get a haircut. My sister notices. We'll just wait a couple more minutes. I even cut my hair myself. You can still see my receding hairline. It's also raining really hard over here, or it was. Hello everyone. So we'll get started in a couple seconds. So some more people can join before we get going. I did get a little sunburned yesterday as well when I was outside all day. I have a pretty bad tan line on my arms from being out in the sun all day. Let's just see. So anyway, we'll get started now, I guess, for those of you watching. For those of you watching at a later date, my name is Matt Stoel. I'm a candidate for state representative in Michigan's 27th district. The district has 6 cities and 1 township. The cities are Berkeley, Hazel Park, Oak Park, Pleasant Ridge, Huntington Woods, Ferndale, and Royal Township. Has roughly 82,000 people in the district. And I currently reside in Berkeley area where I am a youth director and I'm also a full-time school social worker downriver Detroit. And a big thing for me and why we're doing this video and doing a live event is just to get to know me and less about my policies and more about who I am as a person, what I like to do, hobbies, interests, who I am as a person. And, we're going to come out with a lot of videos and a lot of different events at a later time with our different policy stances and conversations with people. So I'm really excited about that. But like I said, I'm running for state representative, and the reason I decided to run for state representative is because I believe in a more progressive Michigan, and I believe in a Michigan that works for everyone, not just a few people that we so often see. Our current state representative, Robert Wittenberg, is term limited, so this is an open primary seat. The election is August 4th, and at this time, Michigan has no recent absentee voting, so you can register to get an absentee ballot, and down the road we'll see if and what the election will look like on August 4th, if we will have all mail-in ballots or if the polls will still be open at the physical location at that time. But I'm a social worker, I'm a school social worker currently, and as a social worker, I really believe in the values that it holds. I became a social worker because of those values, which are understanding the importance of human relationships, knowing that everyone has value no matter who they are and what their beliefs are, and really fighting against the injustice in our society. Going back, I received my bachelor's of social work from Calvin College, and I also received my BA in psychology. And I initially went to school to become an English teacher for high school students. And as I was going through the program, I started to realize that it was a lot of papers. My grammar was not great, and it was just becoming a lot for me. So I decided to talk to a social work advisor, and we had a great conversation. And I took an intro to social work class, and the minute I walked out of my first class, I knew that I wanted to become a social worker. And that first class really hooked me on what it means to be a social worker, which is believing that there is more and knowing that we can help one another. And that's what social workers do. We fight every day for people. We empower them to overcome the barriers that they're facing. And that's something that I really have enjoyed doing. And it's tough. There are days that are harder than others, but for the majority of the time, it's great. And when we get to see our families and our clients and whoever we're working with overcome those barriers that that they're facing, it really shows that we can make a difference. So after going to Calvin, I went to the University of Michigan and obtained my master's of social work from there, and I specialized in interpersonal practice and mental health. I had the opportunity to work for an intern for our state forensic center, which works with individuals with severe and persistent mental illness and individuals that have been deemed incompetent to stand trial or not guilty by reasons of insanity. So at that point, I really found my interest in mental health and working with students in mental health. I love my time in Ann Arbor. It's a great city. There's no denying that Ann Arbor might be one of the best towns and cities in Michigan. But I moved out of Ann Arbor to become a part-time youth director as well, and that's how I ended up in Berkeley. I'm really excited to be able to be in this race. We currently have 7 other individuals, and I think that's something that's also great. We want our legislature to look like our communities. And the way we do that is to allow everyone to vote and make voting as easy as possible. And another way is to get people involved and to have them run for office. I never thought that I would be running for state representative or any office position a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, but here I am. And it's been a long journey, and I've learned so much from it. And, if you guys have any questions, you can feel free to ask me any. But again, I decided to run because I really believe that this campaign can make a difference. And, right now we have a team of about 10 to 15 people, and everyone that's on our campaign really believes in what we're trying and working towards. Some of these issues, and like I said, we'll address them at a later date with more details, but these issues include common sense gun reform in the state of Michigan. They include our education system, our environment, our infrastructure, and minimum wage, and so many other issues. And I think the issues that we really care about and we're working towards are just general issues for society. We believe on this campaign that everyone deserves a living wage. There is no reason individuals should have to work more than one job to put food on the table. We believe that our future and our students deserve proper funding, and they deserve the care that they should get at school. And we have been underfunding our schools for far too long. We know that climate change is real and that we need to act on that as soon as possible. And, we know that there needs to be common sense gun legislation in Michigan. There's really no doubt about that, especially after seeing the protests at the Capitol last week and the week before. We want to make sure that we keep people safe. And, that's also something I'm very passionate about. But anyway, in my free time, I really enjoy being active. I recently got a bike that I can get in shape with at home. It has definitely helped. during this quarantine. I've been eating a lot, so it's been difficult to kind of shed those pounds. I'm currently watching Parks and Rec again. I really enjoy Modern Family as well, and I recently went through the White Collar series. And I really enjoy being with my family. I grew up on the west side of Michigan. My family is still over there. So whenever we can, or whenever I can get over there, I really try to go over there and see my family. Now it's a little bit different with social distancing going on, but that's something that I really enjoy doing. And I also really love dogs. That's something that has been going on. So, just to briefly touch on some issues that, like I said, that we really care about. I'm currently a school social worker working downriver, and I've seen the ins and outs of the education system. At this point, Michigan ranks 48th out of 50th when taking inflation into account in Michigan. So although we're increasing our per pupil funding each year, we're not doing it at an appropriate rate for our students. And to me, when we don't properly fund our students, that's telling them that we're not investing in their future. And that's just not acceptable. We really absolutely need to invest in our students, and our teachers and support staff. So, some of the issues that I would really like to see addressed is increasing our per pupil funding for sure. An article recently came out, and individuals from our legislature were talking about the potential of a 25% cut to per pupil funding. That is something that is absolutely ridiculous. We already are not giving enough funding per pupil. So there really is no way that we can take 25% off our per pupil funding. And we really, what we need to do is we need to focus on schools in lower income areas, and we really need to properly fund students that are receiving special education services, English as a second language learners. And again, those students that may live in lower income communities. We really need to support that. And at the same time, we need to support our teachers. I would love to make a starting salary of teachers of at least $40,000. I don't think that's asking that much after these teachers go to school, they go to college, they invest in their college education, and when they come and work and help the future of our communities, they should be paying well. And to be honest with you, the majority of the teachers I work with have second jobs. They can't afford their starting salary as a teacher. And having low starting salaries for teachers and low salaries for support staff makes it difficult. It makes your job more difficult. There's higher caseload sizes, and that creates burnout. And it's hard to keep someone in their job when they're experiencing burnout. So we need to make sure we take care of our teachers and our support staff, such as speech pathologists, social workers, psychologists, PTs, OTs. But on another level, we need to make sure that we're paying everyone a living wage in our school. I know my administrative assistants in the office of the school that I work at, they know everything. They do so much for everyone, and, they need to be paid a living wage. We need to make sure that we are paying individuals at least $15 an hour, again, so they don't have to work multiple jobs. Our minimum wage has not kept up with inflation, and it's been incredibly stagnant, and we have an opportunity to change that. So that's our stance on our education. In regards to our environment, we know, like I said, we know the Earth is warming. We need to do everything we can to start to combat climate change, and it really starts with us. We need to understand that this is an issue, and we need to move forward. At this time, the federal government is doing nothing. So if the federal government isn't going to do anything, the state of Michigan needs to do something. And I believe, Michigan can be a leader in renewable energy and energy efficient cars. We are the Motor City for a reason. It's time to get back there. It's time for us to take that title back and to really, really show the rest of the United States that we can still create jobs, different jobs, but we can still create them while creating a better environment. That's our stance on the environment as well. So Lastly, our gun legislation in Michigan is our current state representative, Robert Wittenberg. He has done such a great job of championing a lot of common sense gun laws in Michigan. And so, what we want to make sure is that the legislation that has been introduced gets hearings, because right now they're not even getting hearings at this time. And we want to start moving towards that. So right now there's the emergency risk protection order that was proposed by the Democrats in the Michigan House, and it wasn't even taken to hearing. And the emergency risk protection order would essentially allow individuals that are in a mental health crisis for their guns to be taken from them so they do not harm themselves or others. And then there's also a piece of legislation background, our safe storage laws, trying to keep ammunition away from the actual firearm, and that was not taken to a hearing. I would also like to see universal background checks in Michigan, and also move toward an assault weapon ban, because I don't believe that anyone needs an assault weapon as a civilian. So, those are our policy positions. We're always more than willing to chat. Our interns on our team are great. They've been making phone calls, they've been reaching out to the community, and they've been doing so much for this campaign. We would not be able to do what we do without them. And in regards to the campaign, it's not what you see on TV. It's a lot of hard work. There's always a lot of things that need to be done, and it's definitely a team effort. And that's what this campaign really is truly trying to do, is build a team. And know that our belief in changing the system is by reaching out to people and believing that people are the voice of the communities. And to do that, we need to talk to people. We need to reach out to them. And we've been doing that. We were knocking doors prior to the virus spreading. Now we're making phone calls. And there's always a lot more to do. So if you ever want to be involved, you can phone bank for us. Or there are multiple other opportunities that you can do. You can go to our website at gowithstoel.com to check that out. And there's a spot where it says join our campaign, and you can sign up to volunteer if you want. But things our interns have been doing is completing endorsement requests, reaching out to voters, planning social media events, just the gamut of things. And COVID-19 has definitely changed everyone's life, and it has also changed the way we campaign. It has made things much different. No one has ever campaigned in the middle of a pandemic before. So there is a lot to learn and a lot of uncertainty around this. But what we do know is that we value people on this campaign, and we know that the more people we can reach out to, we can share this message with, of inclusivity and fighting against the injustice in our society, and knowing that everyone has worth. And that's what our campaign has really taken on, and it's really been trying to focus on. What else? Does anyone have any questions or anything? Our website is pinned at the bottom. You should check it out. There's also on our website, there's a place to donate. Unfortunately, I'm not a huge fan of money in politics. Definitely makes things messy, and people in power can continue to stay in power because of that. So all of the money that we raise goes directly to voter outreach, whether that's through printing costs or mailing costs, or digital advertising. So just know, if you do donate, we are so grateful of your donation, and know that it's going to a good cause. That's something that I think is very important. Is donating to big campaigns is great, but donating to local candidates, the money you donate goes a lot further for us. Does anyone have any questions or anything? We had someone that texted me that asked just about essential workers and paying them their rightful wage. This pandemic has demonstrated and showed us so many things, and it really has showed a lot of the disparities within our society. A lot of the essential workers now were overlooked, to be quite honest with you, before this. And that should not be the case. Every worker has value, and, no worker is better than another. But you wouldn't notice that based on how people are paid. And, with the minimum wage, we need to make sure that everyone's getting that. And especially during this time, the individuals, the essential workers that are out there every day, we need to make sure that they are receiving higher wages, because they're putting themselves on the front line. They're putting themselves in harm's way, truly. There was a story in Detroit about a bus driver, and it was a viral video, and you can see it that he made a video about someone coughing, and a couple weeks later he died. It's just terrible that happened, and people are putting their lives out on the line all the time. So we need to make sure that we're compensating people appropriately, especially during this time. Someone asked about our stance on the pipeline, which is the Line 5 pipeline that currently runs under, the Mackinac Bridge through the Strait from the Lower Peninsula to the Upper Peninsula. We as this campaign has unfolded, and my personal beliefs and the beliefs on this campaign is to protect our environment. We need to do everything we can to protect our environment. We only have one Earth, and I'm sure you've all heard the analogy of the frog in the boiling water. If you put a frog into a pot of boiling water, it's going to jump out. But if you put a frog in and then you start to warm it up, it will slowly die. So when things happen to us in our community, to ourselves, or even on the world, if it happens to us directly, it affects us and we'll react. But with climate change, we don't necessarily see those effects in our personal lives. And that makes it difficult for us to really get invested and involved. But what I do know is that climate change is slowly, definitely fast. It's happening very fast. It's changing our environment. And so the pipeline, is older. There's been a lot of studies on it, but it poses a risk to our environment. It poses a risk to the Great Lakes, and we want to make sure that we keep the Great Lakes great and we keep them protected. What else? Like I said, I really like dogs. I'm hoping to get a husky someday down the road when this is all over. It's very hard to have a dog when you're running a campaign, having a full-time job, and running a part-time job as well. So that's something that will happen. Win or lose, we will get a dog. And another thing too, I think, that's important to note is, like I said, we want our legislature and our government to look like our communities. And it's very hard to start a campaign. You might get up or watch Parks and Rec or something and get up and be like, I want to run. But it's not that easy. It takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of money to get started and to do those things. And I've had the opportunity to work with some great people and continue to work with great people that have done so much for me. We would be nowhere close to where we are if we didn't have those people on our team. But what I think is really important is that someone is talking. What I think is really important is that everyday people run for office. It's scary to start. It's an unknown, but we need people that work. We need the essential employees that are out there. Individuals picking up our trash and social workers and nurses. We need individuals like that to run for office. So there's an equal voice in our legislature, not only in our state legislature, but also on a federal level. And along with that, I think this year is an incredibly important year. If you're frustrated with anything that's been going on, we don't have time to wait. So we would love for anyone watching this video to get involved with our campaign, but there are other campaigns going on. Obviously, it's a presidential year. Gary Peters is up for re-election for our Senate seat. There are numerous races in Michigan on a state level that we're trying to win. And there's our race. And so, we need to make sure that we're involved. The time for saying that we want to be involved or we will do something and letting it pass is gone. I'm really concerned, and I think a lot of people are, that we need to see something change. And if nothing will change if we don't get involved. So whether you help on a presidential level or a Senate level, Senate seat, or on a state level or our campaign, it's time to actively get involved and not just say, someone else will do it, because it doesn't work that way. We all need to pitch in, and we all need to do our part to help people that want to make our community better and stronger and more inclusive. We need to do our part to get those people elected and volunteer with them. So, if you guys are interested, you may donate to our campaign. Again, you can go to our website at gowithstoel.com. There's a place to donate. There's a place to volunteer. You can reach out directly to my cell phone if you want. But we would really appreciate your support during this time, and anything you can do would be really helpful. So if there's no more questions, we'll wrap it up, but we just wanted to start doing some Facebook Lives. We're going to come out with more events based on our education policy, our minimum wage, climate, and things like that. So look for that. Check out keep on our Facebook and our Instagram and our Twitter and our website. And I hope everyone is staying safe and staying healthy during this time. We definitely need to continue to adhere to Governor Whitmer's orders so deaths and cases continue to decrease. And I understand it's an inconvenience, and people are going through so many different things. And so, if you're going through something, you need more support, reach out to your family and to your friends. And if you need more than that, contact a therapist. I have a therapist. I tell people that all the time, and I'm proud of it. Our mental health is very important. So, but if you need ideas for therapists or don't know where to go, you can reach out to our campaign, where you can get the website. You can get our email address at the website. So stay safe, everyone. We hope you have a great day, and thank you for watching.